Hey, hi. I'm really happy you're here with me today. Take a breath, relax for a moment, and just listen. I'm going to speak slowly, gently, and as clearly as I can, so it feels like we're sitting together and having a calm, friendly conversation. Nothing stressful, nothing fast. Just you and me, talking about daily life in simple English. So, let me tell you a little bit about my morning today. You know that feeling when you open your eyes and for a second you don't even know what time it is? That was me this morning. I woke up slowly, kind of half asleep, half awake, and I could hear the soft sound of the outside. Maybe a car passing, maybe a bird somewhere far away. The room was still a little dark, that soft gray light before the sun really wakes up. And I had that little moment where I thought, okay, let's see how today feels. I stretched my arms very slowly, and the air felt a bit cold on my skin. Not too cold, just that morning temperature that makes you pull the blanket up for one more second. I stayed like that a moment, breathing in, breathing out, just trying to start the day without rushing. I like it when the morning doesn't push me, when it just lets me arrive. Then I grabbed my phone, not for social media, just to check the time. And honestly, I smiled because it wasn't too early and it wasn't too late. The perfect time where you feel like, okay, I didn't oversleep, but I'm not suffering either. You know what I mean? That little win at the beginning of the day. I sat up in bed slowly because my hair was everywhere and I had to kind of push it aside to see. I looked around my room and everything felt a bit quiet. My desk, my chair, my little plant in the corner. It's funny how your room looks different in the morning light. Softer, calmer. It kind of whispers, "Take your time, Anna." So, I stood up and walked to the window. I always do that. I like to look outside first thing in the morning, just to see what the world is doing. And today, the sky had this pale yellow color, the kind you get when the sun is almost ready, but not completely up yet. And in that moment, I felt something nice. Not excitement, not happiness, but this gentle feeling that today could be a good day if I let it, if I move slowly enough to feel it. I went to the kitchen and made myself a glass of water. Nothing complicated, just water. But the coldness woke me up a little, helped my brain say, "Good morning." I stood there, holding the glass, thinking about what I needed to do today. And honestly, I didn't want to think too much. So I just focused on the present moment. The cold glass in my hand, the soft light in the kitchen, the quiet air. Then I made coffee. And you know how the smell of coffee can change your whole morning? When the machine starts and that warm, rich smell fills the room, it's like your day clicks into place. Like, okay, now I can function. Now I can be a human. So I sat down with my cup, holding it with both hands, letting the heat warm my fingers. And for a moment, I just listened to the silence around me. No rush, no noise, just this calm, slow start. And as I was sitting there, I thought, maybe today I can share a little more about my daily routine with you. Maybe we can walk through it together, step by step, like we're living the day side by side. Because when you learn a language, it's not just about grammar or vocabulary. It's about feeling the rhythm of real life, the sounds, the moments, the tiny emotions. So, let me tell you what happened next after that first quiet moment with my coffee, when the day really started to move.
So, after that quiet moment with my coffee, something inside me slowly started waking up. Not my body, that was already awake, but my mind. You know that soft switch that clicks on when you realize, okay, I should probably start getting ready now. That's what happened. I didn't rush. I just let the thought settle in me, like a gentle reminder, not a command. I stood up and walked back to my room. The light was brighter now, a soft golden color coming through the window, and it touched the floor in a warm, almost comforting way. I always like when sunlight enters the room like that. It makes everything feel softer, even the messy parts of my space. My clothes from yesterday were still on the chair, my notebook was open on the desk, and somehow it all felt normal, like the room was waking up with me. I grabbed a clean t-shirt and jeans. Nothing special, just something I feel good in. And as I was choosing my clothes, I caught myself thinking about yesterday. You know, when your mind slowly starts replaying small scenes from the day before, a conversation you had, something funny someone said, a moment when you felt tired or proud. It's strange how mornings make memories feel lighter, like they happened in a dream. I went to the bathroom and washed my face with cold water. The shock of the cold always makes me breathe a little deeper, like my body is saying, hey, stay alive, stay here, stay present. I looked at myself in the mirror, still a bit sleepy, hair all over the place, but I smiled anyway. Sometimes a small smile to yourself can really set the tone for the day. I brushed my hair slowly, and for a moment, I just listened to the sounds around me. A neighbor closing a door, someone walking upstairs, a distant dog barking. These small little morning noises that remind you the world is waking up with you in its own rhythm. When I finished getting ready, I went back to the kitchen to make a quick breakfast. Nothing big, just a slice of toast and maybe a little fruit. But as I was spreading butter on the toast, I felt something very typical of my mornings, that tiny mix of calm and, okay, let's get moving. It's funny how both feelings can live together, like your body wants slow and your brain wants speed. So you stand somewhere in the middle, trying to balance both. I ate slowly, looking out the window. A few people were already walking outside. Someone in a hurry, someone with a coffee cup, someone walking their dog. Each person in their own little story. I like watching these small morning scenes. They make the world feel connected, even if nobody talks to each other. As I finished eating, I checked the time again, not because I was stressed, but because I didn't want to drift too far into morning daydreams. I took a deep breath and told myself, all right, Anna, it's time to start the day for real now. I put on my jacket, grabbed my phone and keys, and opened the door. And that first step outside, it always feels different from the rest of the day, a small shift. The air felt cooler than inside, and I could smell something like fresh pavement or maybe a bakery down the street. It was one of those mornings where the world feels bigger as soon as you step out of your home. There was this soft morning breeze touching my face, and I paused for a second before walking. Just a tiny moment to feel the air, the sky, the quiet energy of the street. And then I started walking, slowly, letting my day unfold step by step, without rushing where I didn't need to rush. Because sometimes the walk itself becomes the nicest part of the morning. Let me tell you what the street looked like and what I noticed on my way.
So I started walking down the street, still holding a little of that early morning calm inside me. The world felt gently awake, not loud yet, not fast yet, just steady. The sky had changed again, turning into this soft blue that made everything look a bit lighter, like someone quietly lifted the brightness of the day. I walked slowly, the way you walk when you don't want to disturb the morning, as if the whole neighborhood is still stretching and yawning. As I moved forward, I noticed the familiar things first. The building on the corner with its little balcony full of plants, the old tree with leaves that always fall too early, the small bakery that opens before everyone else. And every morning, without fail, that bakery has this warm smell floating out into the street. Not strong, just enough to make you think of fresh bread and warm butter. It's strange how a smell can make you feel safe, even when nothing special is happening. There was an older woman standing outside the bakery today. I see her sometimes. She always wears this long beige coat and carries a small bag for her bread. She doesn't rush, ever. She stands like she has all the time in the world. She turned her head for a moment, looked at me, gave a tiny smile, that kind of polite morning smile people give each other without words, and then looked back at the bakery window. And honestly, that tiny smile made my morning feel a bit softer. It's funny how a 1-second moment with a stranger can change the whole atmosphere inside you. As I kept walking, I heard the sound of a bike behind me. Not loud, just the soft, rhythmic clicking of the pedals. A teenager rode past, headphones on, head slightly bobbing to whatever he was listening to. His backpack was half open, and I had this mini thought like, oh no, everything's gonna fall out. But somehow it didn't. He disappeared around the corner like a small burst of energy moving through a sleepy morning. I crossed the street and felt the sun touch my cheek for the first time that day. It was warm, but not too warm, like a soft hand saying, hey, you're doing okay. And in that moment, the city felt alive in this really gentle way. A car passing slowly, someone jogging with very steady breaths, a dog pulling its owner a little too fast. All these tiny pieces of life happening at the same time, weaving together a quiet, beautiful routine. Then, something a little funny happened. As I walked past a small park, I saw a little kid running around in circles, chasing a pigeon. Not even trying to catch it, just running behind it with this huge laughter. The pigeon, of course, didn't care at all. It just walked away in that typical pigeon attitude, like it was too important to deal with children. The kid laughed even more, tripped a little, stood up again, and kept going. That sound of pure, simple laughter, it lifted something inside me. It reminded me that not every moment of the day needs to be serious or productive. Some moments are just for joy. I kept walking, letting these small scenes stay with me, and I noticed something about myself, something that happens almost every morning. When I walk like this, slow and present, my mind starts to feel clearer. I don't think about everything at once. I just let one thought come, stay for a moment, and then leave. Like clouds passing through a sky that isn't in a hurry. And as I got closer to the bus stop, I felt that small internal transition, that shift from soft morning to the beginning of responsibilities. The world around me was getting slightly louder, people talking, buses moving, footsteps becoming quicker. And that's where the day really starts to take shape, the moment when you join the rhythm of everyone else, when you become a part of the bigger movement of the city. Let me tell you what happened when I reached the stop and stepped into the next part of my day. When I finally reached the bus stop, the quiet rhythm of the morning shifted into something a little faster, a little more focused. Not stressful, just different. There were people already waiting there, each of them in their own bubble. A man checking his watch, a student scrolling on her phone, someone sipping from a takeaway coffee cup. It's funny how everyone stands so close, yet no one really talks. It's like we all silently agree to share the space without sharing the moment. And the bus arrived with that soft, deep sound of brakes, and the doors opened with the usual whoosh of air. I stepped inside, holding the rail for balance as the bus moved again. I found a seat near the window, and for a second I just looked outside, watching the buildings slide past. I always like sitting by the window. It feels like you get a private little movie of the city every morning. Inside the bus, everything had that early day energy. Not loud, not chaotic, just people waking up in their own ways. Someone listening to music, someone half asleep with their head against the glass, someone reading a small book with one hand while holding onto the rail with the other. And the sunlight kept moving across the floor as the bus turned from street to street, like it was choosing who to touch next. I had a small moment for myself there, thinking about the hours ahead of me. I knew I had things to do, messages to answer, maybe a small meeting, maybe a task that I wasn't really excited about. And for a second, I felt this tiny pressure in my chest. Not stress exactly, just the weight of responsibility. But then I took a slow breath, looked out the window again, and reminded myself that I don't need to do everything perfectly, just step by step. Just like the walk this morning. When the bus stopped near my building, I stood up, thanked the driver in a soft voice. He probably didn't hear me, but I still said it, and stepped outside. The air felt different again. A little warmer, a little busier. People walking briskly, cars honking softly in the distance, a delivery guy carrying a big box and almost dropping it, but somehow saving it at the last second. I smiled quietly at that. These tiny moments always make me feel more connected to the world around me. As I entered the building, I could hear the faint echo of footsteps on the stairs and the low hum of a conversation somewhere down the hallway. Inside the elevator, I caught my reflection in the mirror. My hair had settled a bit since the morning, and my face looked more awake. There was something calm about seeing myself like that, just a normal version of me in the middle of a normal day. When I reached my floor and walked into the room, I could feel the familiar energy of the space. Not chaotic, but full. A couple of people already working, someone typing fast, someone laughing quietly at something on their screen, someone talking softly on the phone with that polite office voice. And as I stepped further inside, I felt myself blend into that rhythm, like slipping into warm water. Not too hot, not too cold, just the right temperature to adjust to. I sat down, placed my bag next to my chair, and opened my laptop slowly. That small moment before the screen lights up is always interesting to me. It's the pause between who you were a second ago and who you need to be for the next few hours. And when the screen finally lit up, I felt myself shift into the beginning of my workday. But even then, I didn't want to lose the softness of the morning. So I took one more breath, settled into my chair, and let the day unfold from there. Let me tell you what the middle of the day felt like, when things started moving a bit faster, but still carried that quiet thread from the morning.
When I finally stepped outside again after finishing everything I needed to do, the day felt completely different from the morning. The light had softened, turning warmer and a little heavier, the way late afternoon light always does. It's that kind of light that makes shadows look longer and the whole world feel like it's slowing down just a bit. I could feel it on my skin, like the sun wasn't trying to wake me anymore, just gently saying, "Hey, you made it through the day so far." I took a slow breath and started walking, not in a hurry, just letting my body find its own pace after hours of sitting, thinking, talking. That first step outside after work always feels like stepping into a different version of the day. The air smelled a little different too, like food from nearby cafes mixing with warm pavement and the light scent of trees. It felt familiar, comforting, the kind of late afternoon smell that tells you the busy part is over and the peaceful part is starting. As I walked down the street, I noticed people looked more relaxed than they did in the morning. Someone carrying groceries, someone talking on the phone with a softer voice, someone holding hands with their partner and laughing quietly. Even the cars felt slower. Maybe it was just me, but the whole world seemed to move with a gentler rhythm. I stopped by a small store to buy something for dinner. I didn't even know what I wanted. I just walked through the aisles slowly, letting my mind settle. And there was something nice about that silence between the shelves. The soft sound of a fridge door opening, the quiet music playing from a little speaker, the feeling of choosing something simple for myself. I picked a few things, nothing special, just enough for a calm evening, and walked out again. Outside, the sky had started to turn a mix of orange and pink. One of those skies that makes you slow down without even realizing it. I saw a family sitting on a bench eating ice cream, the little girl with chocolate on her cheek, the parents smiling at her tiny mess. It made me smile too, in that quiet way you smile at moments that aren't yours but still warm you. I kept walking, passing a small park. The grass looked golden in the evening light. A guy was playing guitar on a bench, not performing, just playing for himself, soft chords drifting into the air. A couple of teenagers were sitting nearby, sharing a bag of chips and talking about something that made them laugh every 30 seconds. And there was a woman walking her dog, letting the leash get longer as the dog sniffed around, completely absorbed in its own world. I found myself slowing down near the park entrance, not because I needed to stop, but because the atmosphere felt easy, like the day had finally taken a deep breath. I love that moment between afternoon and evening. It's like the world is saying, "You did enough today. You can relax now." I continued my walk home, listening to the quiet sounds of the street, the soft rumble of a bus in the distance, someone closing a window, a bicycle bell ringing lightly, the kind of sounds that tell you life is happening all around you, peacefully, naturally. When I reached my building and climbed the stairs, I felt that familiar shift inside me, the transition from the outside world to my own small space. I unlocked the door, stepped inside, and everything felt still, safe. My room looked a little different in the evening light, warmer, calmer. I put my bag down and took off my jacket, feeling the day slowly falling away from my shoulders. And there was this gentle moment, that quiet pause before the evening truly begins, the moment when you decide what you want the rest of your day to feel like. Let me tell you how the evening unfolded from there, when the world outside got darker and the inside of my room felt like its own little peaceful universe. When I stepped into my room and closed the door behind me, something inside me settled. The air felt different from the outside, warmer, stiller, almost like the room was holding its breath, waiting for me to arrive. I walked slowly across the floor, letting the quiet wrap around me. It's always interesting how silence feels louder at night, like every small sound suddenly has meaning. I placed the groceries on the counter and changed into something comfortable, something soft and loose that made my body relax without even thinking about it. And when I looked at myself in the mirror for a second, I could see the whole day on my face, little traces of tiredness, little hints of moments that made me smile. Not dramatic, just human. I went to the kitchen and started preparing a very simple dinner.
Nothing fancy, just something warm. While the food cooked, the smell slowly filled the room, mixing with the soft evening air. I leaned against the counter and listened to the quiet sizzle of the pan. Sometimes those tiny sounds feel like company, like the world is gently talking back to you in its own language. When I sat down to eat, I didn't put on music or anything else. I just let the moment be. The taste of warm food, the softness of the light, the feeling of slowing down. It's amazing how eating slowly can make you feel more grounded, like you're telling your body, you're safe, you're home, no rush. After dinner, I washed the dishes at an easy pace. The warm water on my hands, the small clink of the plates, the rhythm of simple movements, it all felt healing in a way I can't fully explain. Some parts of the day demand energy and attention, but evenings invite softness. When I was done, I walked to my window and looked outside. The sky was dark now, but not in a heavy way. The streetlights gave the city a soft, golden shape, and the world seemed slower, almost like it was whispering instead of speaking. A couple of people were still walking outside, moving quietly through the night. A car passed slowly. A window across the street glowed with warm yellow light, and I imagined someone else ending their day the same way I was ending my day. I sat on my bed, pulled my blanket around my legs, and let my mind wander. Not in a busy, stressful way, just drifting through the memories of the day. The warm light in the morning, the little smile from the woman at the bakery, the child chasing the pigeon, the quiet moment on the bus, the softness of the park at sunset. It all felt like pieces of a puzzle that made the day make sense. And as I sat there, I felt this gentle appreciation for the simple things. Not the big achievements or the dramatic moments, but the tiny details that you only notice when you slow down enough to see them. A soft breeze, a warm cup, a quiet sunset, a few small smiles, mine and other people's. I lay back on the pillow and let my body sink into the mattress. My room felt like its own little universe, safe, calm, slow, and my mind wasn't racing. It was just resting, floating through quiet thoughts. I didn't think too much about tomorrow, just a soft curiosity, like maybe tomorrow will have its own small stories, its own gentle moments. Maybe we can talk about something different next time. Maybe a weekend or a memory or something fun that breaks the routine. For now, I just stayed there, breathing softly, letting the day settle inside me, the way dust settles in the warm light of a lamp. Not heavy, just present.